are live.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Got a loaded show getting you ready for a big weekend. We've got NBA, we've got Super Bowl, we've got lacrosse, we've got all around the world. Dan, come on in here. What do we got for today's show? We're Super Bowl rushing. We got a ton today.
Yeah, Andy and I on the show yesterday, we talked all receiving props. We broke down, 6 or 7 guys and what their overs, unders are, what you were looking at. And we'll do something similar here. Not as many options in the rushing game, but I have a prop that I really like. I'm sure Andy has a couple, but we'll pull up a screen and show you historical data, how these guys have been doing cash. And so getting you ready to bet props in the Super Bowl, Andy and I are here for you. And then next week, we will be handicapping which performers will be wearing dresses and things like that. But on today's show, man, the Football Fridays are dwindling. We're calling it a Football Friday because we're going to force Teddy and Marco to talk about the Super Bowl a week and a half before the game even starts. But we're also going to be obviously talking NBA, college basketball with those two guys. They're going to have free plays for you coming up. We're going to do Sell Me with Teddy. I picked a great game for you guys to win some free 3-day flex passes. But Teddy's also going to be talking Pistons, Warriors. Marco's going to be coming on Michigan and Michigan State, the battle for Teddy's home state there. Should be a fun one that Marco is going to be breaking down. You've got all around the world. Lacrosse kicks off this weekend. I've got free plays for you in that. Andy, it's a great time to be subscribed here to WagerTalk TV, and it's a great time to celebrate Football Friday. Yes, only 2 left on the year, Andy. It's sad, man.
We got to milk it for all it's worth here. Like when you only got one football game, and Football Friday is not that good when it's like XFL and things like that. So let's bring in Teddy, and we're going to talk a little NBA. Then we're going to talk about Super Bowl. Teddy, we're going to talk Pistons Warriors, but I want to ask you some general thoughts here. We talked about Giannis. Looks like he's probably not going to be on the Bucks. Warriors are a team that's being brought up, but I asked Joe Ranieri this yesterday. I'd love your thoughts. If you're an NBA team, are you really that excited with unloading everything to get Giannis, who's now dealing with another calf injury in his 30s, this big contract? Are you excited about trading for Giannis?
No. Have you paid attention to the NBA for the last 40 years?
Yes, I have.
Every once in a while, one of these moves works, and the team that acquires a superstar goes on to win a title. It happens, once every X number of years. The other 98 moves that get made, don't tend to be quite as fortuitous for the team picking up the veteran superstar. And of course, the cost for acquiring Giannis right now, I've heard some remarkably high costs that it might take to bring him on board. I don't think that for any team, you pick up Giannis, you're like, oh yeah, we got a title now, we're locked in. Would the Knicks be better without Karl-Anthony Towns and with Giannis in that spot? Maybe, a little bit. But would they be better without Towns and a newbie and 2, some first round picks down the road? Of course not. And the price to get, a superstar in the NBA at the trade deadline as opposed to at free agency is in my mind usually too high to make that trade.
I mean, I'm looking at these standings. Like, what's the theory for building a good team? We're going to talk about Detroit. It almost feels like Detroit may be the model. You got one pretty big contract with Cade, one superstar, and then just try and load up a good, surrounding cast. But I just feel like these teams, 2 massive contracts, somebody like Giannis, it just doesn't feel like it's feasible once it comes to playoff time.
And of course, the issue with first of all, Detroit hasn't won anything. All right, so let's not give the Pistons too much credit. They've had a good first half of a season after being bottom feeders for the better part of the last decade. So there's hope for Detroit in a way that there hasn't been, since Chauncey Billups was playing in Detroit, as opposed to getting thrown out of Portland for betting issues. But when you talk about the strategy and the philosophies for winning a title, a lot of it has to do with salary cap flexibility. And when you lock in someone like Giannis that you have to pay as they get older, in my mind, that reduces flexibility. And when you look around the league, who's getting traded? Everything's, this guy's an expiring contract. That guy's an expiring contract. These are guys that, 2 and 3 and 5 years ago that you wanted to pay $20 and $30 and $40 million a year. So the cost to acquire a Giannis, in my mind, and Giannis is right now, he is a top 10 NBA player, without a doubt. He might be a top 5 NBA player. He is that good. He is that capable. But one top player doesn't win you a title. When you need a piece and a high usage piece mid-season, it's hard to get a guy like Giannis to be in full chemistry with your team. And of course, oh, by the way, he's hurt now. So even if you get him, to expect that your team with Giannis this year to find the chemistry and click all through the playoffs, in my mind, that's rather optimistic.
Yeah, I guess the strategy is somehow trade for SGA.
Exactly.
Williams, land Chad Holmgren.
Well, the strategy is trade your Giannis like OKC traded their Paul George, and lo and behold, look what the cat can drag in a couple of years down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's break down this Pistons Warriors game. Two teams, like we just mentioned, kind of going in opposite directions here, but let's focus on the game tonight here. Pistons are going to be the big favorite. Kind of makes sense. The Warriors stand a chance here in this one.
So I'm really curious because you say they're going in opposite directions. What do you mean? Because I don't see that at all.
Oh, I think the Warriors, with the injuries that they have, they're a non-factor in the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Pistons are the number 1 seed, and the East, I think, is wide open. The Knicks seem to be floundering. So if I'm picking one team that's going to have a lot more success in the playoffs, to me, it's the Pistons. It's not even close.
All right, so the Knicks are going to be there. They'll be fine. It's January. The NBA is a long season, and the Knicks are going to be there. And really, if you talk to me about the Eastern Conference Finals, I don't think the Pistons will be. So we talk about, what's the future of these two teams in the postseason. I don't see Detroit as being a likely contender to come out of the East. They are the type of regular season team that we love. All right. They're young, they're hungry, they're focused. That's who you like in the regular season of the NBA. When it comes to the postseason of the NBA, you like they've been there, they've done that. In general. Not always. OKC, obviously, last year, when you have that young, talented core like the Thunder did, you can make an exceptional run. But Detroit is not OKC, at least not in this bettor's opinion, not yet. And of course, it is a Pistons team on the second of back-to-back. So anytime we're talking about second of back-to-backs, there's two things we check. One, what happened last night? How many minutes got played? How hard were those minutes? Two, what's the team's track record without rest? Pistons have a losing track record against the spread without rest this season. They've not been particularly good in this role. And last night, kind of a no-show game in Phoenix. Nothing went right from the get-go. They did not shoot the ball well. They did not defend particularly well. Low-scoring affair for Detroit, and they were pretty much blown off the court. But from a minute standpoint, Cunningham played 33. Duncan Robinson played 30. Those were the only two guys that played major minutes, which leaves the Pistons in fairly good shape tonight at Golden State from a rest perspective, even though obviously their track record in these games has not been great. The question that we have, and I'm saying we collectively as the NBA betting marketplace has right now, is what the heck do we do with Golden State? How good are the Warriors? And as Andy Lang said coming in to this discussion, these feel like two teams going in the opposite directions. Since Jimmy Butler got hurt, Golden State 2-3, a straight up 2-3 against the spread. And of course, when you're beating Utah, it's not really that much of an accomplishment. And they did beat Minnesota when the T-Wolves were in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. So they do have 2 wins, both of which you have to go, okay. That said, Golden State has been far better at home all year than they have been on the road. Now they're 5 games into the Butler injury, and it's not like they lack depth. The Warriors have some quality depth. And note the fact, again, looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen right now, it's not Detroit as a road chalk. The markets are saying Golden State deserves to be the favorite here. -2.5 pretty much across the board. Total 224.5 pretty much across the board. And of course, my powering number for the game with Detroit on the second of back-to-backs says, in theory, the Pistons are supposed to be favored here. And the markets kind of feel that way. The markets kind of have been sniffing that way. So when you see a 2.5 holding, and yet a lot of people are saying, the other team should be favored here, that tells us there's something to be said for Golden State's home court edge tonight against a tired Detroit team that, honestly, I think they have overachieved at least a little bit over the first half of the season. I'm not convinced you're going to make as much money with Detroit over the back half as you did over the first half. Now the markets have caught up to where they are. So the lean here is Golden State minus the 2.5. I understand that the Pistons are a tough team to step in front of. Golden State is the way I would look for this one. And of course, at minus 2.5 in this point spread range, I tend to look at money lines when you're talking about short NBA favorites. But that's for me one, like the 2 point spreads in particular, where the money line is perfect, minus 1.5, minus 2. Once you get up to 2.5 in the NBA, now it's a pretty big price to be laying. So lean here's Golden State. If it goes down, if I see a 1.5, 2, maybe look to the Warriors in the money line at some point before tip off.
Moving on to the Super Bowl. I'm assuming you go down and do the whole props thing when the props are released. How was it? I've never been. That's got to be. I have to make it out. Like, it's so silly that I don't come out there. So how was it? How was the vibe this year?
So
I know that's ridiculous.
It's a 54-page packet, 53-page packet. I mean, this thing. I mean, it's significant. And of course, it's not just like, a little bit on it. There's 2 columns on each page, top to bottom. There's a lot of props to go through. And what do you do at the end of it? You end up with a page of notes like this. And we'll eventually, in the next, hopefully, 24 to 48 hours, that'll get translated into a bunch of bets and a bunch of plays for the clients as the prop report comes out. I'm hoping to get that done over the course of the next 48 hours, let's say some point this weekend. I want to turn this page into a bunch of bets. And after I make the bets, then I make sure that we get the clients. The clients get the same things that I'm betting myself. So, I mean, the Super Bowl prop report for me, I mean, I do it every year. I've been doing it every year for 20 years. It's one of mine. And I'm not someone that does props every week. I'm not. But Super Bowl is different because there's so much public money involved. You can really find some good opportunities. And it's one of my favorite times of the year when it comes to Super Bowl props. So, in terms of bucket list stuff, everyone talks about where do you want to be in Vegas? Look, the March Madness opening weekend is funner. All right, and it lasts longer. So if you have 2, what do you want? You want March Madness, or you want to come for the opening night of the props? You probably want March Madness. That said, there's nothing like it when it comes to a wise guy party in town. I've been almost every year. There's a handful of years I haven't been down there. But now, of course, it's Wednesday instead of Thursday, so it's a little bit earlier than it has been. And you've never seen like a wise guy party, a bunch of guys with these fat bankrolls wearing sweatsuits, going up in line and again and muttering amongst each other. It really is it's a sight. It's an interesting scene. It really is. And of course, there's lots of guys that I know. So for me, it's fun because in this business, you spend a lot of time by yourself. You spend a lot of time handicapping by yourself, getting out and about and talking with your friends that you get to see, a couple times a season is always a good thing. So I had a great time down there. I go, like I said, almost every year. And I was there from, like 6 o'clock till 11. I stayed after because I was talking with some buddies. So, and of course, when you're talking with people, you're picking their brains. They're picking your brains. It's I don't mind sharing ideas with friends and colleagues that I respect. And as long as they share with me, I'm happy to share back with them.
Yeah, the Formula One has become not a must go to thing in Vegas. I thought it was going to. Boy, I was excited, and then whoopsie. Give us your Super Bowl preview here. It looks like the line is kind of holding steady at 4.5 here for Seattle. The floor is yours. Total 45.5. Side total props. What's your take so far?
Just break that. Super Bowl, 20 minutes, go. So there's one lesson that I learned the hard way about Super Bowls. And at this stage, it makes this game a one-way game for me. The lesson I learned the hard way about Super Bowls is you can't lay freaking points. Doesn't matter how much better one team is supposed to be than the other team. All right. Doesn't matter how much better a team was in the regular season. Doesn't matter how much a team was better in the playoffs. Doesn't matter how big your powering differential is between these two teams. Once they get on that stage, in the modern era, teams are basically even. When you look at the track record of favorites in the Super Bowl, it's ugly. All right. 4-14, the last 18 meetings, last 18 Super Bowl. There's one pick 'em in there. 6-18, the last 25. 6 times the favorite has covered. And when we talk about the favorites that have covered, well, you have New England 28-3. Yeah, they covered that game. Seahawks Steelers, remember that game? I remember that game. Everyone in the world was whining about how the worst refereed game in the history of Super Bowls. Well, that's one with the favorite covered. I mean, that's what it takes for the chalk to be covering in these games. So for me, from a side standpoint, I don't care how good Seattle was. I don't care all the flaws New England have. When February rolls around, these teams are even. And I can only take points. Look at the track record of teams laying more than a field goal. All right, I talked about 6-18 ATS for any favorites. Now you look at the track record of teams laying 4, 4.5, and plus. There's been 11 tries this century. Those teams laying more than a field goal are 5-6 straight up. Straight up. 1-10 against the spread. Does history matter? How much does history play into this? Well, that's the question. Look, Seattle's a better team. They are. I'm probably on both sides of the football. From a statistical standpoint, the Seahawks are remarkable in that sense. Really strong statistical profile. And New England's statistical profile, while strong, is certainly affected by the fact that no team in the league played a weaker schedule than the Patriots, and people still remember that. And of course, when you talk about New England's road to the Super Bowl, fortuitous. 2 warm weather teams coming to play in cold weather games. Denver's missing field goals. Denver's without their starting QB. I mean, obviously the Patriots are here not necessarily because they're one of the 2 best teams in the league, because everything's broken right for them. And the markets are telling us that. That said, can't do it, Andy. I've learned this, some lessons you learn and you have to learn again and you have to learn again. Super Bowl saying, oh, this team's definitely way better than that team is a lesson I had to learn a couple times. But I have learned that lesson. And I will not. My choice sidewise here is New England or pass. There's not a chance. I don't care stats. I don't care matchups. I don't care anything. Not a chance I lay with Seattle here. Plain and simple. Patriots or we'll be involved.
Your public service announcement. You don't have to bet on the spread in this game. You don't have. There's not a law that says you have.
Yeah.
To. Teddy, what do you have up for everyone at WagerTalk? It's a big weekend, and then we got to do Sell Me.
Sure. So I'm running good right now, guys. It's been a great week. I'm on an 8-0 NBA run over the last 8 plays, and tonight, real simple, 5% big ticket. Locked and loaded. A top total. The totals have been great. I'm hitting 80% on NBA totals this year so far in 2026. Red hot right now. And of course, the long-term track record, short and long-term track record for the NBA 5% big tickets, they're impressive. I'm 37-18 since 2022, 67%. So there's not a ton of them. I don't have a ton of 5% plays. I certainly don't have a ton of NBA 5% plays. I think this is my 3rd one of the year. I got one tonight. Check it out. WT.buzz/TC. But again, don't buy the play. Get a package. Get the buy a 7-day all access for the price of 3, dude. I mean, it's as good a deal as you can find. $69 every play, every day, every sport for the next 7 days. I encourage you. Check that out right now on my homepage. WT.buzz/TC.
Teddy with a 5% NBA play. Don't you threaten me with a good time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You love it.
3 this year. So far, 2-0.
Wow. Let's go. Well, let's make it 3-0. You can get that play at Teddy's page right now. WT.buzz/TC. Again, as I scan the board here for Sell Me, which is your chance, folks. If you comment below after the video goes live, we're going to tell you how you can win a free 3-day flex pass for any of these great guests. Marco coming up next, Teddy right here, and Andy as well. You could do 1 day of each of them with the flex pass. You'll win. What's up, Teddy?
So I want to respond to the comments. You're saying Teddy's pick is based on historical results more than this season. Thank you, AWB4. Rex for Fun is saying that doesn't apply this time around. One team has 15 rookies on the roster. Another team emerged from the best division in football. I want to address that real quick.
Please.
All right. In my mind, based on my experience, The historical results are more important than anything that happened this year. When you look at the track record of this game with 2 weeks of hype, with two teams that get a chance to breathe and then have to play again. The fact that one team has 15 rookies and the other team was the best team in the best division doesn't matter in February. Occasionally it does, but more often than not, it doesn't. So yeah, that's my thought process on this. I appreciate the comments and I don't mind the criticism. It's okay. But I want to explain exactly what my thought process is. It's not, oh, there's some trend, there's some random trend. This is 28 Super Bowls in Vegas. This is what works. This is what doesn't. That's my take.
Well, and Teddy, I'll even go one further. 15 rookies, 15 veterans. Like, that's something that I don't care about. And yes, in the Super Bowl, okay, it's fun talking points. We have 2 weeks to talk about this game, so it gets analyzed and overanalyzed. But something for me is, I don't give a shit about the names on the back of the jersey. I'm talking what do these numbers mean to me? And historical trends, you hear it in financial advisors as well. It's no guarantor of future success, but it's definitely something that you have to factor in there. So I think that's just maybe a little bit of difference between the people who are watching these type of shows to formulate their Super Bowl opinions versus watching First Take and those type of shows to formulate your type of opinions. There's big difference there. But guys, sell me time. I mean, I look forward to this every single week because I get to scan the board and try and find ugly matchups, fun matchups. I have a feeling, though, this matchup, gentlemen, will not be Teddy's 5% play this evening that you can get at wt.buzz/TC. I picked this one because of the similar logos, and I liked how it looked on my screen here when I have Clippers and Nuggets. And the spread in this one, guys, it's painted. Clippers 6.5 is what we're looking at pretty much. So, Andy, I'm going to give you the dog here with the Denver Nuggets simply because the dogs have been very good to you during this segment. Teddy, you're going to be letting me know why you should be laying 6.5. And Teddy, I was nice. At least this week I didn't make you break down a 13.5 point favorite, just a 6.5 point favorite. So Teddy, why are the Clippers rightfully so 6.5? And people should comment Teddy with their WagerTalk username to win a free 3-day flex pass.
So when we talk about the LA Clippers, all right, even now, after all this time, they're still not necessarily being priced like the team that they've been for the last 2 months. Remember, this team started 6-21. And since their 6-21 start, they've lost 3 games. 3. And all 3 games have been blowouts, by the way. When they lose, they get clobbered. Other than that, it's a Clips team that has found a way to, and found a way is not even the right word. It's a Clips team playing good ball. It's a Clips team playing, we can win the West. We can compete with OKC type of basketball. And again, we look at the Odds Logic Live odds screen right now and seeing a very reasonable price, 6.5 for LA in Denver. Of course, let's not forget, it's a Nuggets team. And well, of course, we know about the Denver injuries. But what we haven't talked about a lot is the fact that Denver has been kind of up against this, the back-to-back bombers at Detroit. They had Brooklyn. So the last 2 games, the last 3 games really have all come down to one possession at the end. They have Milwaukee, Detroit, and Brooklyn came up short in only one of those 3 contests. But it's certainly a Nuggets team that, as shorthanded as they are, there are matchup problems here. You don't have a stopper for Kawhi. You don't have a stopper for Harden. You don't have the low post presence that you need, especially with Valanciunas question mark for this ball game. So if I'm playing, I'm laying. Ride the hot, fade the mediocre. Right now, Denver's a little bit mediocre.
Fade the mediocre. Playing, he is laying, says Teddy Covers in the first part of Sell Me. And Lino pointing out, I am getting a little bit soft. It's the cold getting to my head. I should have went Brooklyn, Utah, but the logos being perfect matches, Andy, it was just too beautiful for me. So your turn to sell me on this Denver Nuggets side. And folks, we're grading this one at 6.5. So you're getting the points, Andy. You won't be laying. If you will be playing, you'll be taking. At least that's what I've decided for you.
Yeah, this has just been a a blessing for the Nuggets. They're missing some of their guys, but they're getting some of their younger guys and bench guys plenty of minutes. And this is a team that's 6-4 ATS in their last 10 games. Yeah, they're coming off of a win last night, back-to-back, a gritty win against the feisty Brooklyn Nets. Clippers on a nice winning streak, but I don't know, a couple of those wins against Brooklyn, couple against Washington. There's a Utah win in there. And honestly, I think this might potentially be a look-ahead spot for the Clippers, who are at Denver on Friday, but then they got a nice matchup at Phoenix. And Denver has the element of surprise here. Christian Braun still out. Aaron Gordon still out. Jalen Pickett is getting big minutes. Peyton Watson has a chance to shine. Spencer Jones gets time. And Bruce Brown is really, really good coming off the bench. I actually think these supporting players are playing much better, and this line is a little inflated due to the guys that are out right now. These bench players and these role players are getting plenty of minutes and experience. I think Clippers win, don't cover, and they look ahead to this big matchup against Phoenix.
All right, Andy. Well, Steve Kohler commenting below, why would you not take Teddy's advice? Seriously. He is 2-0 on these 5% plays, and he's got another one going tonight. And he's on a nice NBA run. So I don't know. Steve could be onto something, but you have to decide, commenters, and let us know. 6.5. Who's covering it? Clippers or Nuggets? Comment Andy if you think the Nuggets are a live dog, and comment Teddy with your WagerTalk username if you think the Clips are covering this 6.5. Teddy, always a pleasure, my man. Good luck tonight on that big play, brother.
I'll take all the luck I can get, brother. Thank you. Luck never hurts. Have a great day, guys. Cheers.
Yes, sir. Teddy covers WT.buzz/TC. Teddy does cover. I'm sure the clients are hoping tonight as well. So that's a fun one, Andy. Let's see. Comment below, folks, your chance for a free 3-day flex pass.
Real quick, Rex, I think last two postseasons is great about that. But the biggest thing here, when Seattle doesn't win by double digits, I will be back with hat in hand. Rex, care to make things interesting? Should we revisit after the Super Bowl? You said double digits, but the line is 4.5. Let's meet in the middle, 6.5. I'll bet you a 3-day pass for 6.5. So if they cover the 6.5, you get a free 3-day pass coming your way. If they don't cover that, you get to purchase a 3-day flex pass. Rex, do you agree to the terms?
Yes, the term has been laid out, Rex. Let us know. And this is the thing, folks. We're always watching the live comments. So you throw down a gauntlet, we're all for it. Tell us that we're idiots. Tell us that you disagree. Maybe don't tell us we're idiots, but you can tell us that you disagree. Andy and I are watching the comments, and sometimes we'll go head-to-head with you and win you some action as long as you agree to hold up your end of the bargain. But, that's great stuff, Andy. And what I love about the Super Bowl, I will say.
Hold on, Dan. Guys, wait till after the show. Then comment with Teddy or Andy in your WagerTalk name. You're doing it in the live chat. It's got to be in the comments after the show. We need record of it in the comment section. So save those till the end. Okay, Dan, where were you?
No, I was just saying that I always love when the Super Bowl rolls around because, I by the end of the 2 weeks, dude, I don't even want to bet side or total. Like, if you didn't on the opener, it's just like it's been discussed, ad nauseum. And I do have to address here, Seth saying joining late. Dan yesterday, no way Bologna scores 3-0. That is not what I said. Roll back the tape. I verbatim said that Bologna could hit the over by themselves. I just don't think they'll get a clean sheet. Never said no way Bologna scores 3-0. I said that was not my projected score line. So baloney. It happens.
All right. Well, let's bring in Marco. Let's bring out some games, and then we're going to finish with WTF, LFG. We're going to finish with all around the world. We're going to finish with the Russian props. Marco, one of my favorite things is you waiting in the back because you're
He's animated back there.
I love it. It looks like you're just judging us and taking mental notes, and you'll get your write up at the end of the show. Well, and then we go live.
I do want to comment on one of the things that you guys did. And Andy, I want to agree with you. And I respect the hell out of Teddy, but I totally disagree with him on his take on the Pistons as far as not being a playoff factor. The NBA is a creature of habit. Okay. And what you see is, he said that, teams don't, just get into the playoffs and make that run. They don't. They have to pay their dues the year before. And if you look at Oklahoma City 2 years ago, what did they do? They got into the playoffs. They battled in a 6-game series, played tight games, but ended up losing. Then they came back the next year off of the experience they got the year before. What did the Pistons do last year? They took the New York Knicks to the limit. They went a 6-game series, but if you remember, every one of those games were crazy games. There were a couple that were big leads blown, but yet it came down to the end of the game. That was their paying their dues, their learning curve, whatever you want. I think the Pistons are a big factor in the East this year. Can they win an NBA championship? I'm not saying that, but I think the experience they got from last year's playoff appearance is going to serve them well this year.
I like this Pistons team. I think in this day and age, they got the recipe. It's very like the vision I have in my head as I was looking at the Pacers last year, and it's like, okay, superstar Halliburton with a big contract, then a Siakam playing great on a little bit lesser contract, and then role players pitching in and doing their thing. And that's what I see with Detroit. Like they got Cade, who's a superstar. That we know they can play defense. They're top 3 defensive team. They got Duncan Robinson, who can hit threes. Isaiah Stewart's been a just incredible player this season. I like him in the East. I'm with
like you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, I'm not on an island with this one. So let's go to a lot of Michigan talk. Let's go to college basketball here. We're going to talk about 2 Michigan teams, Michigan and Michigan State. Yes, there are sports being played in other states, but we're going to focus on this Michigan State. Is this a big rivalry in state college basketball at this point?
It's always a rivalry between these two, but we know that when it comes to Michigan and obviously in football, Ohio State is the big rivalry. It's always a bigger rivalry for Michigan State because Michigan State's always going to be deemed as, the little brother, not, they're not the real tiny little brother, but they're always generally taking second fiddle to Michigan. So it means more for them. And boy, what a setup. You got one team that's coming in at 19-1 and the other one coming in at 19-2. Now, the 19-1 Michigan team, they've lost 7 straight to the spread. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I broke this game down and, I start and I look at one side, then I look at the other side, and then I, form my opinion. My initial reaction had me on one side. And then the more I looked at it, I swung over to the other side. And I'm going to start with it. I'm looking at Michigan, and yeah, they're 19-1, but they've lost 7 straight to the spread. But they've been a huge favorite in all of those games, okay, until the last one. Now, they were a smaller favorite, but still a sizable favorite. They were playing Nebraska, who hadn't lost the game, and yet they were still a big favorite. Now they're finally in a spot where the spread's not going to be a factor, okay? You just got to win the game. Now, Michigan State, why my initial reaction was to look at Michigan State is I absolutely love Tom Izzo. Okay. This is a guy that doesn't worry about what his record might be coming out of, the month of December. He schedules teams every year. He gets his team to play tough games early because it always makes them a better team in conference play and when you get to March Madness. And, look at what, he did. Michigan State in November and December this year, their first 9 games, they had games against Arkansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke. That's a murderer's row. And you got Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke, blue bloods of college basketball. I mean, he doesn't shy away from anything. And it does make his teams tougher. So looking at Michigan and all, the wins and no covers, I'm saying, I'm going to land on Michigan State here. But when you actually look at it, and then I went back and looked at stats, and going back to last year, this Michigan team, when they play a game on the road, and the line is between the threes, +3 to -3. So you're talking about a coin flip game. They're 10-1 against the spread in those games. They get the job done. I'm going to go ahead and go with them, even though Michigan State has the pedigree to get this game won, and they're coming off a scare in their last game. Obviously, they were looking ahead to this game, but I'm going to ride the high of Michigan getting through that Nebraska game. That was a big game. They got the win. They found a way to win it, and they're going to take the momentum out on the road. Both teams play tenacious defense. Should be a fun game to watch on a Friday night, but I'm going to go ahead and take Michigan in this one.
All right. We almost had a Tenacious D reference there, Dan.
I would have loved it. I was ready. I was ready. I was hoping for it.
Marco, what's your take on the Super Bowl? We heard Teddy's historical, things. Hey, favorites just not the way to go historically. Then we had some comments like, you got to throw all those out the window and just look at this year. Right now, it's -4.5, total 45.5. Are you looking at props? You're looking at side? You're looking at total? What intrigues you about this game?
Well, my first take, I'm going to give you guys here on the show week in advance. I'm going to give you a total of first half wager, and I'll explain why. But talking about the historical stuff with Teddy, and the recency bias has been the dogs have been, the way to look. But when I talk about historical stuff and I look at things, one thing I remember, guys, and this game does remind me a lot of it. Now, I'm not saying that's where I'm going to land, but I'm saying as soon as I saw this game, as soon as I saw the line, it reminded me of a different Super Bowl. And it was a Super Bowl that, and I don't even remember what year it was now, but it was way back there. Dan Marino goes to the Super Bowl in his second year in the NFL, plays the San Francisco 49ers, and absolutely gets annihilated. I was on the 49ers in that game. Personally, that it was at the time and still is one of the biggest wagers I've ever made on a Super Bowl. And it was because that second-year quarterback going. Now, a little bit different with the 49ers because we know the 49ers, had their stretch of the dynasty and that offense was prolific. And you're dealing with, you had on those teams, you had Montana and Steve Young, quarterbacks that were tested. Here, you've got two quarterbacks that have never been to the Super Bowl. You've, got one that's, definitely a veteran, but boy, you want to talk about a veteran that's carrying a lot of baggage with them. Did he finally get rid of all those ghosts? Probably. And I'm happy for him. What a story it's been for Sam Darnold. He's the winningest quarterback in the NFL the last two seasons. But only thing people wanted to talk about was the last two games of last season. And he had to carry that all season long. And here he is in a Super Bowl. So kudos to him. And Drake May, hey, what a year he's had. Probably the MVP or runner-up, which way they vote it. Great year for him. But can he deliver in the Super Bowl? And that's where I'm going to segue into why I'm looking at the play I'm looking at for the first half wager. Starts to Super Bowls are usually slow. And the reason for that is nobody wants to make that first mistake, okay? It's almost like I like to refer to it whenever you get a big heavyweight boxing match, okay? The guys don't come out just firing, throwing haymakers right in the first round. They're throwing those jabs. They're filling each other out. That's what you get in the Super Bowl. And I think more so than ever this year because of the two quarterbacks that are in it. You've got, Drake May, like I said, a second-year quarterback. And remember, he's a second-year quarterback, but he didn't start all of the games last year. They brought him in, during the season when things, were going bad for New England. They finally made the switch. So, this is a guy with not a lot of experience, but has played well. I'm not taking anything away from him. And then you've got, Sam Darnold that still has that mystique of seeing ghosts and so forth, and they're going to be conservative with him. We know the history also of the Super Bowls, how, one of the props that's always very popular every year is, will there be a score in the first 6 minutes and 30 seconds? And the no has been, the side that gets the money the majority of the time on that particular prop, just for what I just said. Then throw in, we got two good defenses. You're looking at Seattle, who's the number one team defensively in points allowed. New England's number 5. Yards per play allowed. Seattle's number 2. New England's number 7. Yards per rushing attempt. You've got Seattle defensively number 1. New England number 10. And add in yards per pass play attempt. You've got Seattle number 3 and New England number 4. So all of that tells me I'm going to be looking at a lower scoring first half. And when you look at New England, and I know everybody's talked about their schedule, and at this time of the year, we don't care about, who you beat, you're here. Okay. So apparently you beat some teams at the end that were pretty good, but the first half, the scores in the 3 games that New England played, the Charger game, it was 6-3 at halftime. The New England-Houston game, they got to 31. It was 21-10. But there was a pick 6 in that game in the second quarter, and C.J. Stroud kept setting them up on short fields, 5 turnovers in that game. Horrible game by C.J. Stroud. And then last week at halftime, it was 7-7. And remember, the weather was good for most of the first half. So don't throw the weather was a factor in that one. So I'm going to give you under in the first half for my play, my early play for the Super Bowl, under first half wager.
All right, Marco going under the total in the first half. Nice work, Marco.
Guys, an interesting thing on the money line. When you're talking, I know Teddy talked about the money line in the Super Bowl. If you shop around in Vegas right now, you're going to see that money line is all over the place. You're going to see it as low as Seattle minus 220 and as high as Seattle minus 242. Circa is the lowest in town on the money line if you want to bet Seattle, on a couple reasons. It started out with them is they're on the hook for a $310K payout on a $100 wager. They call them Super Bowl exactas, and you could have played these way back when. And you have to pick the exact 2 teams to get to the Super Bowl and the winner of that said Super Bowl. And somebody has New England beating Seattle in the Super Bowl. They put $100 wager in. That's a $310,000 payout. Ooh. That's a pretty nifty score for somebody if they get it. I hope to God they're doing some hedging on that bet, but that's one of the reasons why they started out lower. And then they also took a $1.1 million bet on New England at plus 188, which will bring back 2.1. So different houses are going to end up having different numbers trying to entice money for where they need help at. And Circa is definitely going to need some Seattle money come their way. So if you want to bet Seattle money line, that's the place to look at it. And Andy, I know you're familiar with this with big heavyweight fights. The Super Bowl money line propositions generally create value on the favorite because people treat the game that are newbies, come to Vegas. When you have a lot of them come for Super Bowl week, they want to bet the game. And when they go to the window and they go, what can I win for $100? When I bet, and they find out, they bet 110 and they can only win 100. They're not really thrilled about that. They want to make more money. So they take the money line dog. It's the same way as they do with boxing. They'll take the dog, they'll bet the dog. And then you always see the sharp bettors come in right before a fight goes off and grab that reduced favorite at a better money line price.
Wow. So $100 to win $300,000 is
must be nice
out there. Wow. I mean, you go lay 150 grand on the other side, or so you do something to guarantee yourself a 6-figure payout. That's let it ride or super hedge. It's a super hedge. It's not even close. This drives me nuts, Marco. Like when you have a big future ticket like that, you have a future ticket like that, in my opinion, not for the big win, but for hedging opportunity to guarantee profit. That's why you take
absolutely
tickets like that. You're not taking $100 to hope to win $300,000. You're taking $100 to hope to put yourself in this position to guarantee a 6-figure payout. It drives me.
Dan knows we have this conversation on Bet On It all the time, and I'm gonna answer the same way every time. You can lock in a profit. you lock in a profit. You've got to take some. That's the whole thing. And I know a lot of people say that, why are you giving up value, when you've got a good number, and such. That's not it. I want to guarantee winners. If we can guarantee profits, you want to guarantee. Now, I'm not saying, if you really have a strong opinion on that side, sway it that way, but make sure that you're not going to lose money on this. And in this case, he's only going to lose $100. I get that, but
still,
my God, you could have lost it.
That's what, even if you lose, just $100, it feels like you just lost, six figures. You know what I mean? Because you could taste it. And that's the thing that blows my mind, Mark. And you hear it all the time, with talking heads and things like that, of value this, value that. Guess what? If that side that you're way overexposed on loses, your value is this. It's zero. It's nada. It's zilch. So the whole, I get it. It's fun to be like, hedging is for gardeners. But if you're in this to make money and you are in an advantageous position, you likely have the bankroll that allows you to then lock in a profitable position, kick your feet up, play some Super Bowl squares, have fun otherwise than where you could potentially fumble a bag of a six-figure bet, Mark. It blows my mind, man.
Wild. All right, Marco, tell everyone what you have up for Wager Talk, and then we'll see if you have a sauce of the week.
We have the sauce of the week. It's going to be another Marco rant. We'll get to that.
Yes,
please. This week, guys, we've got that still that 7 days for the price of 3. Take advantage of it. Hey, guys, full disclosure, I come on here every week. I tell you what my 5% record is and how good we've been doing. I lost one last night, and it was a tough one to swallow. We had Hawaii. They were +2, closed at 2.5. We had it at +2. They go to overtime and lose in overtime. And I love the comments. It's a sample size of 1. That's all that matters. If you bought yesterday, I lost. But, some of the comments, I love it when you guys chirp on social media and that I'm an idiot and so forth. That I had a dog go to overtime. The game ended in a tie. Okay. I don't think I was that far off base, guys. And somebody goes, "Well, don't you know that Hawaii hasn't won in Cal Irvine since 2018? How many of those kids are on this team? Could you please tell me that?"
2018.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how we're handicapping. But I lost to 5% last night, guys. So we're 41-21 the last 2 years with 5% plays. I will take that every single day of the week. But 1 game sample size, we're 0-1 last night. So that's how we're doing. But I would tell you, good time to jump on 7 days for the price of 3. And don't forget, Marco's Deli. I will be taping it immediately following this, and it will be released later today. We're going to have 5 plays on the Deli. The Deli College Basketball Edition, hitting 60% through 3 weeks of the Deli. So be sure to check out 5 more college basketball winners for Saturday, all for free. That'll be up on the Wager Talk YouTube channel later today.
All right, Marco, I'm in the mood for some wings. What sauce am I?
You're in the mood for some wings. Well, this has been a year, guys, where we've seen more coaches go on 4th down than ever before. Okay, because everybody, all the math geeks with their little cards and charts and everything, the numbers tell us that we should do it. And it absolutely drives me nuts. And I'm going to tell you what, and I'm going to probably alienate, 2 fan bases. And I've already alienated enough fan bases this year. So what's 2 more? But you know what? If you're a fan base of the Rams or the Broncos, you got what you deserve, because Sean McVay and Sean Payton both did idiotic decisions during this game on 4th downs that cost both teams what I feel their opportunity to win the football game. Let's start with Sean Payton. You're up 7-0. It's 4th and 1. I get it. It's 4th and 1. The metrics say that's a high percentage. Go for it. Okay. Except, and this is what drives me nuts, Nobody considers the metrics and the numbers guys. And this is where I have my debate all the time with numbers guys that tell me I'm an idiot for my style of handicapping because I look at situations and things that aren't factored into the line in the numbers, where a team, where they're at, who they played last, who they play next, whatever. That's not factored into the line, okay? That 4th and 1 chart doesn't factor in the fact that you're playing with a second string quarterback that is making his first start in over 2 years, hasn't thrown a meaningful pass in over 2 years. You're at home. You have the opportunity to go up 10-0, making it a 2-score game. Your defense hadn't given up anything to that point, almost to the midway point of the second quarter. Why in God's name would you take a chance of giving the other team momentum by having them stop you on 4th down? Not to mention the play that you called was an idiotic play, slow developing play. You need a quick developing play. You only need 1 yard. And let's throw in the last factor. You know what the weather was going to turn to. Put the points on the board. When that weather comes in, it's going to make scoring tougher. Take the 10 points, keep the momentum, and play defense. And force a second-year quarterback to have to come from behind on the road who had done absolutely nothing. That's Sean Payton. Now, let me get to Sean McVay. 4th and 4 with 4:59 left in the game. It's 4th and 4. I get it. You're at the 6-yard line. I get it that you're down 4 points. But if you kick the field goal, 4th and 4, I don't care what chart you have, that's not a high percentage play. And you're going against, if not the best defense, the second best defense in the NFL. You kick the field goal and make it a 1-point game. There's still going to be just under 5 minutes left in the game. If you make a stop and get the ball back, you only need a field goal to win the game. Let's play worst case scenario. If you give up a touchdown, what's it make the score? You're going to be down 8. You're still a 1-possession game. You could score a touchdown in a 2-point conversion and go to overtime. Why would you not give your team the best chance to win that game? Not only if you cut it to 1 and then a field goal can win it, but whenever you kick off to Seattle, now Seattle's clinging to a 1-point lead. It's a lot more pressure on the offense to deliver being up 1 than being up 4. So you two guys, you deserve what you got, and it's poetic justice that all the guys that went for 4th downs all year long want to be in, the cool group. You are sitting at home. Both teams lost that way. So I'm going to give you the sauce of the week, give you the cool sauce. You get a mango habanero. Okay, that's what you get this week. Okay, because you're going to never see this guy ordering mango habanero. All right. So enjoy it, guys. Enjoy it in the off season.
Thanks, Marco.
Thanks, Marco.
Appreciate you, buddy. Good luck.
Have a good one, guys.
It's well done. Yeah, that reminds me. I don't know if you're a Scrubs fan, but there was a line where he was like, "I'm going to call you Scooter," and he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because it's short for Scooter Pie." He's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I hate Scooter Pie." So that's how he arrived at the mango habanero. He goes, "I'm going to call it mango habanero." Why is that? Because I hate mango habanero.
Because I hate mango habanero. So last time I had wings, I dropped one on the floor. That's the punt return.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the Rams punt returner
on the ground,
yeah,
wobbling around.
That's rough.
All right, we got a lot to get to here to close out the show. Let's do WTF LFG. And Dan's going to Lacrosse, and I specifically asked him to do this because there's an angle in here that Dan has no idea about. So what's the Lacrosse play, and why are we talking about this one?
First things first, Andy, that college lacrosse is back because on my phone I'm currently watching a live stream of an indoor lacrosse game. The game got named on Thursday that it was getting moved indoors, and then they said no public's allowed, no media. So we actually have someone at the game who is live streaming the game. So that is the place that we start at. But Andy, let's get a win here. First lacrosse play of the year for you guys. It's kicking off this weekend, and we are taking a dog that I believe we got a live dog. Boston University getting 6 points against Syracuse. Shop around. This is 5.5. It's 6 out there. I'm fine with 5.5 because I think we got a live dog. But if you can find the 6, get it. This is the first time these teams have ever played. Syracuse also is going to have to kick off this season without one of, if not their best player. Trey Deer was in a car accident this offseason, so he's likely going to be out the entire season. The distractions that come with that alone is a reason why we were looking to fade Cuse heading into the year. And this Boston team just doesn't get blown out, no matter who the competition is. If you're going back to 2024, so the last 2 seasons, this team has never lost by more than 6 goals in all but 3 games. So they're 30-3. If you just gave them 6 points in every game, not worry about what the factor is. They continue to cover even against top flight competition. And this is also the first time that Syracuse is actually going to open the season against good ranked opponent. Boston's currently ranked 16. They typically play Vermont in week 1, and they always beat up on Vermont. Cuse, yes, they should be the favorite at home. But this is a scrappy Terrier team that year in and year out gives teams fits. It's going to be Cuse's first game without Deer. I expect BU to keep this close, maybe even pull the upset. We're taking 6 points with the Boston Terriers against the Syracuse Orange, Andy.
Okay, here's why this is an LFG. It could be the second play in less than a year where we have a fade the car accident theory.
We love a fade the car accident theory, as long as everyone is okay, obviously, yes.
Yes, so Jared Gordon got hit by a car the day before his fight, and he decided to fight, and he got knocked out in the 3rd round. Easy cash. So, yes, first game of the season, we have a car accident involved. It's fade the car accident. That's what makes this an LFG, and let's get the season.
I love to hear it, Andy. Winner. And we'll tell people, too, I know we got a lot to get here, Andy, so I'll keep it short, but we have 2 other plays that will be loaded for clients of Andy. That's a client play right there, and we have 2 other lacrosse plays for this weekend, WT.buzz/AL. Great time to buy that 7-day all access. 3 days is what you pay for. You get 7, and 3 lacrosse plays coming your way to kick off the weekend on top of all the great stuff you got, Andy.
All right, let's do it. Let's do all around the world, and then we'll talk rushing props for the Super Bowl. Get ready for the weekend. All right, so let's see here. We're going to start with UFC. Someone was asking about a parlay piece. Here's one for you. Taliesin Teixeira, round 1 KO. Taliesin Teixeira just doesn't get out of the first round, whether he wins or loses. He's had 1 loss. It was his last fight. He got knocked out in 35 seconds. This guy's a beast, and he's fighting this guy, Dan, Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa is his fan favorite in Australia, except he's lost like 5 or 6 in a row. Like, he way past his prime. He doesn't take it serious, and he showed up to weigh-ins looking like it didn't look great. Let's just say Taliesin Teixeira's got a big reach advantage, a big height advantage. Teixeira will knock this man out in the first round. You can put this one in your parlays. Here's a client play at +260. Zion Williamson, double-double. You guys have heard me talk about Zion's rebounding. I don't know what's going on with the Pelicans. They have a new rebounding style. Zion and Sadiq Bey are the ones getting the rebounds. Zion has gone from averaging 5 to 6 rebounds, and then in his last 3 games, he has 11, 10, and 11. His rebound number is 7.5. No. We're going to take the double-double of him to get to 10 rebounds and 10 points. He's gone over 10 points in 31 out of 33 games. So as long as he plays the full minutes, he should get here. Grizzlies all banged up. They're out Aldama, so they have limited guys in there. Jared Jackson is going to get big minutes. He's not a good rebounder. So Zion +260, too good to pass up. And then Anthony Black over 1.5 made threes. We've bet on Anthony Black several times this season, and he's done pretty good, but he's on fire from threes. Over in 7 of his last 8 games, 15-5 to the over his last 20. What I love is he's averaging 6 attempts per game. Shooting percentage is a little spotty, but when you're getting 6 attempts per game, we only need him to hit 2. We can cash that one. So to share around 1 KO, Zion double-double, Anthony Black over 1.5 threes. That's your all around the world.
Love it, Andy. Let's get it, baby.
All right. Now we're going to go to the rushing props. All right. There's one that jumps off the page for me here, Dan. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. I just don't see George Halani getting 10.5 rushing yards in a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
unless
where did that just because Charbonnet's out, we're gonna say, oh, the backup's gonna get care. Like, do people not realize when Charbonnet has been out year over year, which happens, once or twice a season, it's been the Kenneth Walker show, and flip it the other way when Walker is out, which has happened several times as well. It's been the Charbonnet show. Halani, we're really thinking this guy's going to get enough attempts to okay, he could rip off a 10-yard rush against the Patriots rush defense. I don't get this one at all, Andy.
Yeah, I will gladly take Halani too. He maybe comes in for a spell, but in order for him to get over this one, I think it needs to be a blowout late in the fourth for him to come in. And even then, I'm just not sure you're going to put your faith in George Halani. So I will take I will take the under in that one. Other than that, anything jump out at you?
So I alluded to it yesterday, Andy, and I didn't fully give it out since we were talking receiving props, but I was taking a look at Rashid Shaheed to have over 5 rush yards. This is currently minus 115, and this is a number that I think comes next Sunday won't be as available. You'll probably be looking more at like a 6.5 or a 7. The thing is since he joined the Seattle Seahawks, he's had at least one rush attempt, Andy, in 8 of their 11 games. And it's just, what attempts will this guy have? You and I talked about it yesterday about, taking him for a long ball and taping him volume, all these other things. He is used in the rush game simply because they want to give him an end around, get him in space, and just see what happens. They'll at least try it once in the game. Sure, the Patriots may be ready for it, but in any game that he has had 2 or more rush attempts, Andy, 20 or more rush yards in both of those. So I just think, in the big game, it's the same reason why we don't like Halani. It's like, go to the players that got you here. And Shaheed, since that trade, has been a big boon for this offense. And not only in the downfield game, it's what he allowed just with the ball in his hand. So 5 or more rush yards, minus 115. Rashid Shaheed, a bet that I've already placed, Andy, because I don't think the number's going to be there.
Oh, okay. Sam Darnold, rush attempts, numbers tell you he's gotten over. Kneel downs count, end of half, end of game. Anytime it's under 3, you kind of have my attention. I don't know
and
if I
even
would
money.
Yeah, I kind of like this one. So his rushing yards are 6.5. I would just go with the attempts. If you get any,
I think you go attempts, Andy, because let's say, end of the first half even, and they just want to get to the locker room. He kneels the ball down. Boom, there's a rush attempt right there. If Seattle is, everybody's betting this game like they already know how it's ended, and everyone's betting Seattle and laying with Seattle. So if Seattle really is going to win by, 10 points, win by margin, figures that Sam Darnold is likely going to get, a kneel. And you add that on top of the fact that he's a guy who, I feel like wrongly people think of Darnold. Excuse me, I was saying Stafford there. I meant Darnold. Obviously, they think of Darnold as this like statue-esque quarterback, and he actually has a little bit of movement to his game. He's not just a pocket passer that I think people just categorically label him as. So I like that one quite a bit, and you're getting even money on it if you shop around over 2.5. I think that'll be a bet for me come Sunday.
All right. And then if you're a believer that they're just going to use Kenneth Walker in every facet, you could go over 104.5 rushing plus receiving. Kind of obliterated this number the last 3 weeks. It's a huge number.
Has, but anytime it's triple digits, Andy, this is the Super Bowl. You have 1,000,001 things you can bet on. Why are you picking the guy to go triple digits and then he gets injured on the first drive and you're like, shit, you know what I mean? It's the same way as, I think Jackson Smith-Njigba could be the MVP in this game. I'll probably take the plus money bet on him to do that. I'm not taking his over 95.5. When you start getting to those numbers, Andy, that number is already assuming every single thing goes right. You know what I mean? And we know in sports, a lot of times more things will go wrong than go right, and you're playing a defensive team. 104.5. Yeah, sure. You could cash it and brag to your buddies you did. It's not a smart bet, in my opinion.
So Rashid Shaheed rushing plus receiving is 31.5.
I don't hate that. I wish you could go Rashid Shaheed like maybe they'll have some special teams props where it's add in his yardage as well in punt returns on some books, and you're going to see that.
You might be able to get it for the Super Bowl. You might be able to get it for the
And things like Prize Picks, things like Underdog Sports, they offer things like that on a weekly basis. So I know it's going to be there for the Super Bowl, but I would love to take a big chunk of pie and say, let's call it 60.5 yards for any time Rashid Shaheed touches the ball. That's something that I would bet over on, because he might take one of the house in this game.
Oh, see, I would take the under. I don't see New England kicking to him.
You don't think?
Why would you kick to Rashid Shaheed?
I mean, sometimes it'll just come off your foot wrong. You can plan not to kick to him, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Kick off, they maybe put it back there. I know he's exclusively been a lot of punt return, but kick off, you put him back there. The kickoffs with the new kickoff rule where you have to land it, where you have to kick it, it allows for a little bit more chance of return as well.
Yeah. I worry about Travion not getting much work in this game. Only 3 carries against Denver. It was like, we don't really trust him in these conditions. And honestly, I looked up, Ramondre, they talk about his fumble. He's only fumbled in 2 games this entire season. So
Vrabel slapped him on the wrist that it's no longer like the Ramondre Stevenson fumbled, So if I'm betting Travion Henderson, exact same thought, Andy, is does he get the volume? I would just take his longest rush over, because that's the real threat of Travion Henderson, is 7.5? Yeah. If he gets 3 carries, one of those could be a 60-yard rush. You know, and that is the home run ability that Travion Henderson has. So any of those props, 17.5 isn't an awful one, but he could get 17.5 over on his longest rush, and you're only asking 7.5. He's a home run hit guy. He's not a volume wear you down kind of guy. That's where Ramondre comes in.
Last question before we get out of here, Greg. Would you ladder Drake May for rushing yards or just go for the over? This is a great question because myself and a couple of other guys have talked about next season attempting to get more into the ladder plays, because there were a few spots where it was just like, oh man, did we miss out on that?
You said, why didn't I bet more on this? Why didn't I make it a 5%? I remember that, Andy, when you were like, yeah, we love this guy's spot. It was a crazy low number, and he goes over alt, and you could have gotten 7-1 by the time you would have laddered it up.
It was Michael Wilson when Marvin Harrison Jr. was ruled out. They put his receiving number at 56, and it was like, they're going to throw the ball 1,000,000 times. I think he had 170. We could have hit even money, 2-1s, 3-1s, 4-1, 10-1s. So listen, Drake May, when he goes over 2 out of 3 games, he's flown over this one, and he might have to run quite a bit if Seattle gets to him. So blocked props.cash is not free. I will attest to that. It is far from free. Whatever the opposite of free is, that's what props.cash is. So it's worthwhile for myself and my team to get it. I'm happy to pay for it so everybody can use it, but prepare to drop some bucks for it. So so all right, we got a lot of big stuff up. Tomorrow is a huge combat sports. We have our 4% UFC and 4% boxing best bet that is up. 4% NBA tonight, along with lacrosse plays, NBA plays, anything that we have, you'll have. We're probably gonna have some daily golf plays. We've got 2 going today, so expect some more on Saturday and Sunday. The best thing to do is just get that 7 days for 3 days. It runs out, I think, tomorrow. So we got brand new specials coming out in February, and I don't know if that one's going to be in there. So if you're hesitant, I don't know if I should get it, now's the time. Just get the 7 days for the price of 3. It's one of the best specials we run. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it, Dan. Great job this week. Let's get this cross play home, and let's have a big weekend. We'll see everyone Monday. It's Super Bowl week, guys. It's Super Bowl week next week, so expect a lot of props, a lot of Super Bowl talk. Can't wait to see you guys on Monday. Good luck on your bets. Let's have a big weekend. See you on Monday. Take care.